there. Oh, no. Hi there, my name is Charlotte and welcome to the Oxbridge Formula. Today we have with us Laura, who is a second year history and French student at Trinity College at Cambridge. Laura, thank you for being here with us today.
It's my pleasure. Hello.
So just before we get started, I want to remind you all that here at the Oxbridge Formula, we offer an in-depth variety of online and interactive courses to help best prepare you for Oxbridge admissions tests and interviews. For more information on our online video solutions and extended holiday courses, the link will be in the description below. Today, we're going to be delving into what college life is like at Cambridge and ask all the questions you may have had when trying to choose a college. So, Laura, think back to your days as an applicant. What was on your checklist for choosing your college? What was important to you to look at?
Well, I went to boarding school, which for me was a relatively close community. So realizing that Cambridge was a college organized university, I wanted to choose the biggest college in this list. I wanted a greater variety of people. And also my course is quite niche. Some colleges do not offer it. And I wanted a college which had a nice balance of both humanities and sciences. Trinity being a very big college, of different and in terms of people interest. Also, nice. I did have a friend who goes to Trinity. It just felt like a safer zone, and it was central college, so I would not ride a bike. And obviously, if I were to choose Girton or another college that's very far away, I would have difficulties going these things. I was splitting Trinity and Emma, and Trinity.
Nice. So you say, that's really interesting. You say location was like super important to you to be in the center of town. What are some like key places that are quite local to Trinity? Like what are some...
Sorry, could you?
No, go on, go ahead.
Well, it's just like the quality of education in Cambridge and Oxford is going to be quite high in age. So advantage that Trinity has in terms of academics is that you're supervised within college. Who specialize in a great variety. So if you were to go in some other college, you might find yourself having supervisors from different colleges, but that's very rare in Trinity. So this is the academic advantage, but otherwise, realistically, you're going to get a great education at every single college. So I felt that it was the other factors that guided my choice. It was the position, the variety of people, and the accommodation, and also prices, because not all accommodations have their own kitchen, so you would have to go to Hull, and it's about how expensive it is going to be, because students are often on a budget. So you get laundry for free. So I thought that all but the colleges are kind of a different group of factors apply.
Nice. It's interesting you mentioned about the accommodation at Trinity. Can you just give us like a quick rundown of what the accommodation's like, what you get, and sort of what the pricing is?
Yeah, so the pricing is between 1,000 to 1,400 for a term. And then you have additional electricity fee and kitchen fees, but they're usually about like, they're not too high. They're 100 or 200 pounds a term. Everyone has a set kitchen fee because it is assumed that everyone is going to go to Hull. And we run Hull 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And on Sunday, it is only brunch and dinner. So compared to other colleges, you might have to book into Hull, or they don't offer meals at such regular times. Whereas in Trinity, you're able to go to Hull whenever you want, and you're very likely to have a served meal. So this to pay for this flexibility, you have to pay the kitchen charge, and that applies to everyone, regardless of whether you go to Hull or not. The electricity charge just depends on what facilities you're using, so it's calculated for per room. So it depends on how much of the light you use, your refrigerator, and so on. And then, well, there is the accommodation for freshers is set, so all freshers live very close together. Some of them might get an ensuite, some of them might get a bigger room or a smaller room. It's a random ballot. And afterwards, you have accommodation relatively close around Trinity. That's another advantage of Trinity. All accommodation is very centralized, whereas other colleges, as soon as you get to second year, you might have to live a lot further away. You usually you would share a bathroom with someone. Some of them have en suites where you have an ensuite bath, and usually you would share for yourself, and it's very likely that you will have to end up going to Hull. But otherwise, in terms of equipment, like everything is very clean, everything is new, comfortable. I'd really say that the biggest problem of accommodation is the fact that not everyone's able to care for themselves, which immediately forces you to eat out, which obviously affects your cost.
No, absolutely. And what did you find yourself doing more in college? Were you more one for cooking yourself or eating in hall?
Definitely eating in hall. I might have breakfast by myself, but I quite enjoy eating in hall because there is a variety of food. You're very it's not that time consuming, because cooking for yourself, it could be quite difficult, and also cooking for just one person, it's quite difficult as well in terms of what you buy, the ingredients you're going to have. So it's definitely a safer option. And if you're struggling with fees, you can always talk to your tutor. And I have a certain number of friends who have talked to their tutors about it and have then been helped out financially by the college. So I'd say they're always willing to help. And going to Hull helps you socialize, meet people, gives you a very certain break during the day. You don't have to eat while you're working, which I'd say is quite an unhealthy lifestyle. Unless you're seriously pressured by time, you should always give yourself a break for a nice nutritional meal. And Hull does offer very good food.
Nice. So you're quite in favour of the Trinity food then? Do you think quite highly of it?
Yes, I am. Because I mean, not every individual dish is great, but I'd say overall, you have a great option for every single meal, and on most days the food is really good. Unless you're incredibly picky with your food, I think you would definitely end up, satisfying your hunger and getting a good meal and a good price for a good value for money.
Nice. Well, that's great to hear. You didn't take the opportunity you need to learn to cook yourself then and fend for yourself. You're quite happy and all.
Yeah, I'm very happy and how I'm cooking during the pandemic, so I'm learning now.
Nice.
But at uni especially, I feel like while I do enjoy cooking, in those 8 weeks of hard work during term, hard work, and I would much rather take my free time for meeting people or doing extracurriculars rather than for cooking, because especially with me being as clumsy as I am, it takes twice the time that it would take a normal coordinated human being.
But, that's understandable. We're here for you. Trinity's got you with those hall meals. So you mentioned that going to hall is a really great way to socialize. How else do you sort of meet people around college? Where do people go to hang out?
Well, there's a number of pubs around Cambridge where people quite enjoy going, especially from different colleges. But and especially if you want to meet people from colleges, but I'd say we have the great advantage of a very nice college bar, which is very spacious. Obviously during the day it has more of the function of a cafe, but they offer breakfast, they offer lunches, they offer dinners in terms of little pot meals that they can warm up for you. So you can literally spend your entire day in there because they have really big tables and lots of people go there to study. And then in the evening past 6 or 7 o'clock, everyone goes in there to have a pint, a drink, a cocktail. It works until about 11ish. And especially if you stay out until the end, they give out um, all of the pastries that hasn't been sold during the day, because
Nice.
otherwise they would have to throw them away. So I'd say for Trinity, this is a very important part of the social life. And then there is the JCR, which is the Junior Common Room, and people gather there to watch telly, football, the Great British Bake Off, things like that. So this is endemic and specific for Trinity, but otherwise, there's your usual pubs, going to a restaurant together, doing prees in someone's room. Or during the summer when the weather's really nice, people go punting, or they just sit in the backs of Trinity. So yes, these are your standard socializing activities.
Nice. And what do you yourself find yourself doing? Where do you hang out specifically in college?
Definitely the bar. I'm not really a pub person. You might credit this to the fact that I'm foreign and it's not in my blood. I don't drink beer either, but I find the bar is a very nice space, and also it's usually just Trinity students, which on the one hand is kind of limiting, but on the other hand, you get to it's not someone that I've texted today and told, oh, do you want to go to the pub together? But they just show up at the bar, and you end up socializing with a lot of different people in one night. And then obviously during the summer, sitting on the backs, having a pizza or a glass of wine is a very nice thing to do. So I'd say those are the two things I like doing most personally.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, you mentioned earlier that having a big college with always having someone there was something you looked for. Do you think that's paid off now? Are you happy with that choice?
Yes, definitely. And also another thing that I came to realize a bit with time is that Trinity is a lot more international. There is, in terms of ethnicities and national backgrounds, there is a greater variety in Trinity. And personally, for me, I've grown up in very international environments, so this just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. And obviously, I wouldn't say this is a big factor, but still having people from other colleges come to our Trinity College, everyone perceives the fact that we are more diverse in terms of culture and ethnicity and so on. And I like this a lot personally. And I think this makes us also a lot more tolerant and accepting towards other people as well. And there is no cultural shock, as there would be if I were coming straight from Bulgaria to another college. So I do enjoy that, and I am very happy with my choice. I'd say that all of the reasons I've picked this college have definitely realized and materialized. I've seen it. I've seen it pay back, and I'm very happy with my college choice.
Well done. Great choice. Excellent work. That's really great to hear about you talk about, the international community at Trinity. Do you feel like the college does a good job at creating quite a warm and inclusive atmosphere in terms of diversity?
I think so, definitely. I think in terms of our fellows, for instance, the Dean of Cambridge last year the Dean of Trinity supervised me last year, and she's from Japan. And I'd say definitely we have fellows from very different backgrounds. So I think there is no this stereotypical white male majority. And I think while this isn't obviously these external factors do not make up for for the tolerance that an individual might show. It's just walking into hall and seeing this diversity of people just kind of helps you relax a bit more from the very beginning. And I'd say while some international students, especially maybe from further parts like China or Singapore or Japan, might not necessarily have the same impression as me. I'm from Bulgaria, and but I've spent a lot of time in England, so I feel very comfortable, and there's less of a cultural shock. So they might, people from further away might have more to say about like how inclusive Trinity is, but I'd say definitely the college is trying to encourage international activities. We have a lot of international student representatives who are taking initiative and organizing events. So I definitely say that we're trying to be more inclusive, and the change is coming.
Nice. Well, that's great to hear. Good on Trinity for moving into the future. What are some of these events that the international reps put on?
Well, we celebrated the Chinese New Year, for instance. We well, there's the Great British Bake Off, but we had a lot of people coming to this. Then I can't think of anything else from at the top of my head right now. But Eurovision. Oh, Eurovision was a massive thing for everyone from Europe. People were, and everyone was very sad when, well, last year obviously was a very strong bonding element, and then this year when Eurovision didn't happen, we had a student who volunteered to organize an online Eurovision contest where everyone from Cambridge got to vote online for who they wanted to win. So he organized the whole competition from home and coordinated it via Facebook. And I'd say this was a very nice thing to do.
Absolutely. No, that's incredible to hear people are still like taking the initiative to get people involved in activities, even in Corona times, as in June 2020, we are currently still living in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Could you perhaps tell me a bit more about like other events that happen in college? College, so perhaps like the Bobs?
Oh, well, yes, we have Bobs. Usually, because we have formals, so usually they would be after a formal or a specific theme. Like, well, we had an SOP where everyone got a free drink after testing for an STI. We have the Christmas Bob. After formals, you're quite likely to go to the bar, and then the music gets turned up a bit. You can have another drink, you can dance. Other events. Oh well, we have the Great Court Run, which might be specific to Trinity, might be more interesting for people to hear. But I think it's within it happens in October, but I can't remember exactly which weekend of October. And around at 12 o'clock, everyone gathers in Great Court, and exactly as the clock strikes noon, everyone starts running, and the idea is that you go around the whole Great Court before the clock has stopped striking. So I think it had like 4 strikes or something. I'm not entirely sure, but yes, this is the idea, and that's great fun because we're also allowed to walk on the lawn at that point, and everyone considered this a great privilege. And yeah.
Wow. Did you take part? Did you make it around?
No, I didn't. Last year it got delayed twice because of rain, and then the third time for some reason I was busy. And then this year I hadn't even realized it's happening. I was just in the library, and then all of a sudden everyone in the library just got up and walked out. So naturally I was curious, like, where is everyone going? And I followed them, and I realized it was the Great Court Run. It had completely slipped my mind, but I was wearing jeans and just like flip-flops, so I couldn't necessarily run. But there were people who decided to run just as they saw everyone else gathering, so like they hadn't prepared for it. But also I was terrified because everyone runs in a relatively narrow lane, and there was this one guy who was right at the beginning of the lane, and as soon as everyone started, he tripped and fell, and so everyone ran over him. He wasn't injured; he was fine. It ended well, but I would have been terrified had that happened to me.
No, bet. Oh my, the dangers of the Trinity Court Run. Beware, applicants everywhere. That's so nice that you've got like those traditions in college. Do you feel like Trinity is quite a traditional college overall?
Well,
And we've lost Laura.